Hello, you're listening to the Ace Up Your Sleeve podcast. My name is Reichen Young, a student of the Acting Company for Excellence and host of the Ace Up Your Sleeve podcast. Today we are talking to Miss Shannon Hauser. Miss Shannon joined NTPA in 2022 and serves as a resident director. She received her Bachelor of Science in Dance Education from Bowling Green State University and minored in theater with an emphasis on Shakespeare and directing. After graduation, Miss Shannon was a competitive director of Tahoe Dance School for 10 years and partnered with Tahoe Theater Workshop and Lake Tahoe Shakespeare Festival. After taking a few years off to raise her sons, Miss Shannon returned to the performing arts, taking a position with NTPA where she has directed shows such as High School Musical Junior and Newsies Junior, and not to forget, currently, High School Musical 2 Junior. Welcome, Miss Shannon.
Hello.
It's amazing to have you on the show.
Well, thank you.
Or I guess on the podcast. To begin, you have a rich history of dancing, directing, and acting. What originally sparked your interest in theater?
Oh, in theater. Okay, so my mom put me in tap and jazz classes in 4th grade, so I'm kind of a later start than like kids these days. And she just noticed a little extra spice in me, I think, and thought I would like that. And then that, I guess, same spice was recognized by my 4th grade teacher who invited me to join the Odyssey of the Mind team, which I know you guys have a connection with. And so that, I just loved the creativity. I was like, oh, this is fun. I remember our performance was like this Ugly Duckling Goes to New York thing, and we built all the sets and stuff, and that was really fun. And then that same teacher who did Odyssey of the Mind cast me as the Scarecrow in The Wizard of Oz, and from there I was just hooked.
Fancy.
Couldn't stop.
The Scarecrow in Wizard of Oz is such a good role. I'm sure you were amazing in that. And so you have a passion for performing and directing works from Shakespeare. Tell us more about that.
So Shakespeare grabbed my attention because I'm such a word nerd. Like, I loved, growing up, I loved word puzzles and, like, word games and etymology. Like, I loved root words and all that stuff. And so the first time I had to read Shakespeare was my freshman year in high school English, and we read Romeo and Juliet, and it tickled, like, that same part of my brain that all those word games did. I was like, this is amazing. And then, at the end of that unit, my teacher showed us West Side Story. And I was like, hold up. I was like, West Side Story is Romeo and Juliet, and then Kiss Me Kate is The Taming of the Shrew. Like, I started making all these connections of, like, kind of like these things I was familiar with, all were rooted in Shakespeare. And then what really was the stickler was Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet. Seeing those words contemporary, like, blew my mind, and everything changed, and I've loved it ever since.
Shakespeare truly is amazing. I just love vocabulary. It's very fun to be able to use like expressive words and words that barely anybody hears anymore. Some of those old English words are super fun too.
Yeah, I love it.
After taking a hiatus from working in the arts to raise your two sons, you accepted a directing position here at NTPA. Tell us more about that.
Well, I always was passionate with the arts, and my oldest son, when he was younger and he began performing, it was a great opportunity to do a lot of volunteering and kind of just stay in the arts world without really diving too deep, because I also had like a toddler at the time. So I've been at NTPA for 7 years in different roles as volunteer, as mom, you know, went up to board member, and then finally when my youngest got old enough to be able to sit quietly, essentially, I was like, okay, let me throw my hat in the ring, and I started teaching summer camps, and from there, directing followed, and now it's, I don't know.
Now we're here.
I love it.
Now we're here.
I love it.
Now you're changing people's lives for the better. So far, you've directed mostly junior shows for NTPA, including Newsies Junior. I'm sure you're casting kids who have never stepped on a stage before. What advice do you have for young actors who have never auditioned for a show?
If you've never auditioned for a show, don't freak out. Like, I'm not looking for perfection. What I look for, because we typically start with video auditions now, and in those video auditions, I'm just looking for spunk. Like, I want to see life and, you know, just excitement and energy. I don't need the perfect notes and the perfect diction and all of that stuff. Like, I want to see who you are and what energy you're going to bring to the production. Because, you know, our philosophy is we do cast, you know, in those younger shows, we want everyone to participate. We're not cutting kids. Like we want them on stage, and we want that energy. So.
And so I know a lot of directors actually prefer like being able to sing really, really well. But what do you believe like an attribute an actor should have that would truly make them stand out from the regular deal?
I mean, I'm biased because dance was my first love.
Yes.
And so if somebody can move and tell a story with their body, like, I'm like, I don't care what notes they're singing. I'm like, I want you in my show.
Yes.
You know, like,
Get in there.
But I will say, there's lots of people who can sing, and there's lots of people who can dance. And I say this, I think, in every callback, that I'm not looking to cast leads. I'm looking to cast leaders.
Oh.
So I want my leads to be the people that the rest of the cast can go to with questions, and they're supportive of others. And I know that they're going to show up having done the work. And so that's what I look for. I usually don't see that, though, until the callback room. That's really hard to tell from an audition video.
Just that phrase, I'm looking to cast leaders, not leads. Just amazing. Because these young actors are learning and experiencing so much, they must go through a major transformation before running their first production. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so with the kid shows, I really want to encourage those kids to be bold. Like, that's the thing I'm looking for. Like, I don't need perfection. Like, my kid shows, I'm not looking for perfection. What I love is the magic that I see from, like, that first time I meet them, whether it's on a video or a callback room, to the kid that shows up on opening night. There's always a huge growth that happens there. And so for my kids show rehearsals, NTPA has our 10 characters.
Yes.
So the ones I really focus on the kid shows are love one another, respect, creativity, and self-confidence. So I want those kids to get on stage and, like, use their voice confidently. You know, they don't have to be hitting the perfect notes, but, like, I want them to, like, know when they stand on stage, like, they have control of that room, and that's always exciting for me.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
What would you say is the biggest transformation you've ever seen in an individual?
Oh. Okay. I don't know that I can pinpoint one person, but I will say my Newsies cast, like, that callback day, we definitely had some bold people stepping up, but
Yes.
The majority of the room was maybe intimidated a little bit by the dance choreography.
Of course.
So they were like, like, just a little kind of, like, shy and nervous. And by the end of that show, like, I think there's 40 kids in that production, every single one of them was just spectacular. Like they all grew. I loved it.
And I bet that's so cool to watch as a director, too. Like, working with all these kids, like, constantly, and then, like, seeing, like, them blossom and just become who they really are on the stage.
Yeah.
I bet that's a wonderful feeling.
Well, and in Newsies, I want to say we had 15 kids. It was their first show.
Oh, my gosh. That's... Wow.
Yeah, so we had a lot of new people, and it was incredible. I love it.
What advice would you give students who want to pursue dancing and theater productions as a career?
Okay. My biggest advice is just keep it in your life. Like, you don't have to follow this to make money, and, like, you don't have to put that pressure of, I have to make this a career. So I graduated a very, very, very long time ago. We're pushing on 30 years now since I got my degree, and thinking, this is going to be my life. It wasn't always my life. It was my life for, a decade or two, and then I had kids, and then it's come back. So, like, it kind of ebbs and flows, but art has always been in my life. So I would say my biggest advice is, like, no matter what path you take, whether it's on stage or teaching or directing or management, arts management, or tech, keep the arts in your life by supporting your friends, seeing shows, making connections, and then the opportunities will come to you to make money at this. That's what I think.
Yeah, making money with this is definitely an interesting thing. It's very risky, but I do believe you can do it if you really, really aim towards it.
Like, keep it in your life. Growing up, I'm the youngest of four, and my mom's really, I don't want to say only advice, because of course mothers give lots of advice, but like, in my high school yearbook, senior quote from her to me was just, be happy. And so that's doing what you love. Like, you don't have to do it to make money. Just do it because you love it, and then
see what happens from there.
Yeah, and then the path will lay out before you.
What an amazing quote, too. Just be happy.
Yeah.
That's an important thing in life, for sure. And now, Miss Shannon, it's time for the Ace Up Your Sleeve 5 quick questions, where you answer every question quickly and without explanation. Are you ready?
Yes.
What was the name of the first show you ever performed?
Wizard of Oz.
What is your favorite show?
Newsies.
What is your favorite role you've ever performed?
Mullen from Steel Magnolias.
What is your dream role?
Dentist in Little Shop of Horrors.
Yes! And what is your favorite candy?
M&M's.
Oh, M&M's are just amazing. They go well with popcorn, I'll tell you that. Thank you so much, Miss Shannon, for talking with us on the Ace Up Your Sleeve podcast. And until next time, I'm Reichen Young. Remember, you always have a winning hand with an ace up your sleeve.
Ta-da.
The Ace Up Your Sleeve podcast is brought to you by the students of the Acting Company for Excellence at North Texas Performing Arts. This podcast was created by Reichen Young, with sound design and editing by Latham Young. Faculty supervision is provided by Hannah Brewer. NTPA is a nonprofit organization dedicated to developing the character of youth through quality performing arts education and family entertainment. Learn more about upcoming programs and events at ntpa.org.